first stepped foot on American soil 13 years, 5 months, and 24 days ago. I can name all 50 states in alphabetical order in one breath. I know all 27 amendments like the back of my hand. I can list the US presidents without missing a beat, but I stop after number 44 because the current one is not my president. Which is to say, these are all just lists I've memorized and stashed away in my memory bank, ready for me to withdraw as personal validation of my legal belonging here. 2. I've spent the past 13 years, 5 months, and 24 days with a mask of white patriotism over my brown face to hide that I am not a US citizen. Or, according to the US Border Patrol, I'm an alien. 3. I'm considered a foreigner in my own home, had an alien invasion at the border that set off America's intruder alert. Suspicion of my legitimacy has made you uncomfortable. It's not white skin, so for you it's not quite the right skin. Privilege has applied for permanent residence on your tongue because you can't taste the ignorance that spews from your lips. 4. 2 million people signed up to raid Area 51 and free the aliens. But how many of them would raid the Nevada Southern Detention Center and free my aliens, I wonder, when extraterrestrial life began mattering more than human life? 5. Last August, ICE raided Mississippi food processing plants to deport 680 undocumented immigrants. But if immigrants are freeloaders, then why does ICE always raid workplaces? 6. The wrong ice is melting, and it's not the kind that's throwing children in cages. White Christians are complacent in separating migrant children from their parents, but go on mission trips to these same children's countries. Cognitive dissonance is like hearing the anthem and gunshots, but hearing no difference. 7. Cognitive dissonance is believing someone is illegal while you plant your flag on stolen land. 8. Cognitive dissonance is believing we need to prove our citizenship when you didn't do shit to earn yours. Thank you.
Woo! Yes!
Tanzila.
All right,
So
now.
awesome.
Tell 'em.
Is
Come on.
not fuck it up.
What a start. Oh my God, what a start. My Lord Jesus, that was
Great job.
Please welcome up our next poet, Cobris.
Come on, poet.
Come on, come on. Pop, 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 pop. Bang, 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 and it rings. And it's amazing how that sound sculpts silence. Pop, pop, I am Sean Bell, Ernest Hoskins, Oscar, Alfred, Calvin, Ray, Emmett. They are the reality of raising a Black son, and the reason why I don't want the responsibility of teaching mine how to navigate the politics of his life. Trying to teach him that his ebony glow will lead to blood-spattered soliloquies. And from day one, he has to understand how to avoid the ashes. Because senseless violence would be the scrambled eggs on his plate, the past his bacon, salted by the present, and the broken future in his morning coffee. His life will permanently smell like rose-scented racism, and he will know that some moms will see their sons crumble before them. Men like my best friend Xavier, whose smile lifted tears from my eyes and challenged every doubt that came to mind. We'll never get to do that track one day or argue about who came to work first. Or men like Jacob, who had 2 kids and got killed because he worked hard for 2 gold chains. Or Afra, who just called to say his truck broke down. Or young men like Ray, who had just barely entered adulthood. Or Cal, who's the reason I'm at this funeral. My son has to face the black plagues of could-have-beens. Could have been a doctor. Could have won a Peace Prize. Could have been a terrorist, but we can't know. So in time, I wonder what their signatures would have been. Or men like Ernest, who small when animals roared in his presence. He had a child on the way, and his son can never learn how to play catch with his dad or ask about girl advice. Ernest can't ever plant seeds in him. That bang, pop, pop, that flawed sound is the truth of the world we live in. And the side effect is that those men will never see justice. And I don't want my son to worry about the 50 bullets from the past that may come back to lynch his dreams. And I don't want the shells to be 50 could-have-beens by white men. He should know that hard work is important, and that school is valid, and that proper grammar isn't foolish, and that he should chase his dreams and follow his instincts. But that bang, pop, pop, kill or be killed, pop. An $80 pistol, pop. 21 is new 80, pop. A 60-cent bullet, pop. It's custom for a mother not to see her son smile again. That bang causes us to teach Black men that their skin will deprive them of oxygen. And it causes us to teach Black men that their very existence is toxic. That bang, pop, pop, that plants flawed power and paints blood-filled calligraphy. I just want to teach my son that a casket isn't priceless and that he will not sour in the midst of the dented thoughts that we live in. Thank you.
God damn! Whoa!
All right. Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Great job.
Please welcome up our next poet, Tino.
Castile had concealed carry weapons permit and calmly told the officer, I have a weapon. Yet in front of his girlfriend and 4-year-old daughter, sitting in the backseat of his car, quickly escalated. Officer Giannis shouted and unloaded his weapon and shot him to death. Where's the justice and the mistreatment? In 2014, NYPD put Eric Garner in a chokehold. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You mean to tell me you can zip tie a crocodile without shooting it, but a man stopped breathing while in your custody? And even though it was all caught on camera for the world to see, they all walked away free. Here in 2020, it happened again. George Floyd said, please, I can't breathe. Mama, they gonna kill me. Knee on his neck for 8 eternal minutes until he exhaled his last breath and lay motionless. Despite the COVID, we still protest. Hands up. Don't shoot. Are these movements enough to stop the shootings of our youth? A nation proclaiming Black Lives Matter. Our youth reduced to the latest hashtag of rest in peace. I'm all for awareness, but I'm watching the news less because it's depressing, including Facebook, family members, and friends sharing another death. People upset at the looting of targets, but don't understand the darker complexion equals targets. Be glad that we want justice and not vengeance. Truth is, the unarmed Michael Brown had a bullet hole through his forearm because his hands were up. A simple gesture. I surrender. For who will protect us when hypervigilance is unholstered? For officers fired, it doesn't bring him back. For officers fired, it doesn't bring him back. For officers fired, it doesn't bring him back. And the lack of indictments of the deaths of Tamir Rice, because Trump tells officers, please don't be too nice. Peace officers, come in peace, protect and serve. Please don't shoot. Police, don't shoot. Police, don't shoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo!
Please welcome up our next poet, Bella.
Come on.
I used to straighten my hair to burn away any trace of the fact that I was Black because Black girls are ugly. A direct quote that rolled off the tips of a Black man's tongue, my brother. He said my hair don't flow down my back. Like the white girls, it don't blow in the wind. Like the white girls, it's not soothing to touch. Like the white girls, oh how I wish I would have said, why would I want hair that flows down my back when I have hair that can touch the sky? Why would I want hair that blows in the wind when I have hair that bounces to the beat of my mood when I walk? Why would I want hair that's soothing to touch when I have hair that's so enticing people can't even begin to grasp? Why do you think all these white girls want what I naturally have, but instead I grabbed my straightener and dragged my curls through the fires of hell every morning before I stepped foot out of my room. I'd run my fingers through the new silk that lay on top of my head, the feathered strands dusting my elbows. Oh, how liberated I felt. Am I white enough? Am I good enough? I remember crying my eyes out on days I had to wash my hair. How I didn't want this feeling of being pretty to end. How I wish I would have known the power in the first spiral that appeared and moisture touched the tip of my mane. How my hair spoke volumes. How it screamed I'm bad as fuck. How society teaches our black girls to pale out their melanin to make room for the white woman. How I wish I knew my hair was too big to make room for anyone. I used to straighten my hair to burn away any trace of the fact that I was black, because being black causes too many problems. I dread cold to roll the tips of a white woman's tongue, my mother. She's called me a sorry nigga too many times to fucking count. When I would talk to her about racial injustice, she would say, blacks need to stop complaining until black on black crime stops, and that she's tired of people pulling the race card. Oh, how I wish I would have said, race is not a card to be pulled when it's the first thing that people notice about me. And then act accordingly. Towards your daughter, a black woman, a marginalized woman, how the venom of ignorance that spits out of white women's mouths destroys our black girls, just like my straightener destroyed my curls, but made it easier for white America to swallow. I used to straighten my hair to burn away any trace of the fact that I was black, because being black means will never be up to standard. Drake Coulter wrote the tips of a white nation's tongue, America. You still don't understand how sad it is that the first black woman to grace the cover of American Vogue was only in 1974, and the first black photographer to shoot the cover was only in 2018. How twisted a feeling it is to be happy that we're breaking barriers, but saddened that it still has to go through white hands to do so. How they finally decided we were good enough. How it's still under their watchful eye. How they laugh as we praise ourselves for them finally recognizing us as the first, and they hope that we fail to realize that we were always. Point blank period. I used to straighten my hair to burn away any trace of the fact that I was black because society got to me. Then I stared in the mirror with the vengeance reveling as I straightened my hair for the last fucking time. Thank you.
Yes.
So powerful.
Yes.
Please welcome up your next poet, Natasha.
Woo! They will say that we didn't try. Like black people ain't kneeled before God and the government praying for a change, they will beg for more time. Like we ain't waited over 400 years, like Solomon ain't spent his life as a free man and shackled for 12, like you want 25 of my 24 and the days keep getting longer. But when the smoke clears and the dust settles, there will always be another dead black body lost within the rubble. It will feel like the same day, like a repeat of past events submerged into the presence. The uneasy sigh of remorse when they claim we were just looking for an excuse. Like Negro corpses piling up at your door ain't enough to make you want to take a brick through a window. Throw a brick through injustices, and the justice system just won't let us be nice no more. But if you don't know your history, then you're bound to repeat it. Legs locked, slave boats bound, repeat it. Take the fathers, rape the daughters, bound, repeat it. Keep the body, break the mind, bound, repeat it. Mentally and strategically place straitjackets around their minds so they will be bound to let you repeat it. So this rage has been brought to you by the burning sands of Africa. No red paint on your door will save you from this wrath. And even Jesus flipped tables in temples during moments of discontent, and black folks can no longer be content with your oppressive ways. We rise above the need, taking justice in the form of riots. We meet your equality like an eye for an eye. Now the whole world's blind and they can't see. We've been suffocating and we can't breathe, so we climb on the top of the Statue of Liberty. Pull out her torch and burn the entire country down. Because if you refuse to hear our cries, then you will damn sure feel our fire. Thank you.
Yes. Burn it down. I love it. That was so good.
Please welcome up our next poet, Eric.
As a veteran, just first off, gosh, it breaks my heart. And that's all I'm gonna say. Red, white, and blue, look at you. Witness your show and flair, I dare you. You drink and dance and eat and prance so merrily, just take it, look and see. Take a chance, step out your trance with me. Surely you'll be amazed. Open up your eyes and view the travesty in front of you. Celebration, garish and gay, they scream and yell to what avail? Do they even know? The bloodshed that could fill a sea that stain the stripes of old glory, do they even know? Of soldiers, low young dignitaries that make up the side of cemeteries, past, present, and future, tell me, do they know? It's sad that there are those that think that force another day to drink. Are we so oblivious to ignore the toil strenuous that bought our nation free? The thought's mysterious to me. We, the people, we should know of where we came to be, from immigrants and slaves that lived and died for liberty to be free. It's our very genealogy. How can we expect to be so respectfully referred as patriots? If you can understand that, then maybe you can understand our humanity. How did we even gain this naive self-entitlement? So vain we are to shame the glowing crown and torch of flame. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. I can't breathe. Preoccupied with our own individual game of existence. But who's to blame? You are. You and you and you and you who forgot the roots from which you grew. This citizenship test, you fail. But what have I? What gall have I to wail and sentence you on Americans and sentence you to jail for treason? Well, for one, I wrote these words from in a cell. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Please welcome up our next poet, Jose.
Okay. The father has decided to bring his family to him, for the loneliness has become too crippling. The mother has decided she cannot keep up with the bills. The kids have decided they don't care what happens. For one is too drunk to know the difference, the other is too busy chasing married women, and the last is too young to know the perils ahead. The father has taken a flight to the motherland to make the trek back to El Norte. The mother quits her jobs in excitement, preparing for a better life. The drunk kid brags to his compas. They believe that he's really lost his mind this time. The romantic kid touts his machismo. The women ask for dollars in advance. The young one continues to catch Pokemon, while the other kids join him with Pokeballs from cereal boxes. The family approaches Tijuana, the gate to a better tomorrow, but the gate is somehow closed unless you have the proper documentation. So here they are, hoping they would be brave enough to run across regardless. The father and the young kid are able to get in a car to cross, but the others wait for a coyote. What a terrifying word for someone who's supposed to bring so much hope. The kid cries for a month without his brothers or mother. The father medicates with more modelos than are found at the liquor store. The mother prepares to be stuffed in a truck. The drunk kid remains sober despite the desire to medicate. He hopes his lungs won't cave under the crushing waves of El Rio Grande. The romantic brother has determined that he will just charm his way in, because he's secretly hoping he won't have to run across, for his asthma may sink him to the ground. The family finds themselves 2 years later fighting for the documentation in front of a judge who gives them blank stares, unmoved by the dangers articulated by the family. They are beginning to lose hope. They have waited for signs from the ancestors to no avail. They are lost at sea, hoping a rescue team will save them, but now they know that they are their own lifeboat.
Woo! Yes. That was beautiful.
Please welcome to the stage, JP.
This is some new shit, and I call it shards of glass.
New shit?
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. I believe in choices, the choice to be good and bad. I believe in being kind, and I believe in making the decision to hate. You choose to hate. The church rained holy water upon my soul, yet I was left feeling dirty. The pelting of crucifixes leaves bruises. As a child, bruises were all too familiar, a fashion statement I was far too used to. Bruises from their fists of rage connecting with my body. I had too many paper cuts from Bible pages I had to learn to swim in. No life preserver because I've always had to save myself. Where was my savior, or the savior you speak of then? My family disowned me, outed at 23. I became prey and not prayed for because they were so happy to attack. My mother said she should have listened and aborted me. The toxicity started in the womb, and in the womb I learned that not all homes are warm nor welcoming. It wasn't an abortion I was worried about, but the miscarriage for being queer. In church, I'd stare at stained glasses of holy figures above me, rainbow prisms trying to heal my body, for they knew what I was going through, and they too looked as if their world shattering was all too natural to them. Colorful shards of glass that never pierced my skin as I was looking for sharp objects to cut the pain away as a confused teenager. Shards of glass that came together to create a story of tales, their past lives shining hope upon me. Only those stained glass figures understood how it was to be shattered, having to piece yourself together again. The Holy Mother towered above me, her shadow showing me that even in darkness there is light. The Holy Mother showing me that not all mothers are monstrous. The Holy Mother crying for me, tears healing my pain, tears comforting my wounds. She was my first hope in knowing that mothers can be all loving, that mothers sacrifice for their own and do not sacrifice their own.
Woo!
Please welcome up our next poet, Bella.
Interpreting the words from my abuser. He says, "You don't love me like you used to." Translation: you don't love me like let me control you, like let me wipe the tears from your face, soak your pain into my skin, call it hydration, leave you yearning for a drink of your self-respect back so you'll keep coming back, hoping I'll allow you a sip. But the person you used to be, he says, "I love you, Bella." Translation: I need you, Bella, like carpenter needs tree, like chisel the pieces from you to fit the pieces that are missing from me. They never fit perfectly. Why don't you fit perfectly, Bella? Do I need to cut into you again? Is that what you want? Me to cut you, scrap wood, light you on fire? Love hurts. Bitch, he says, let me make love to you. Translation: like let me force myself onto you. It makes my ego feel good, like the nose become harder to hear when you're trained to interpret them as playing hard to get, like the night after your abortion when you said you were too broken to be intimate, but I, a man with needs, can fuck you whole again. He says, don't leave me, Bella. Translation: don't let me have to look at myself and see all I have done. The mirror is a scary place for me. I'd rather reflect my demons onto you, make them your fault. You haven't finished fixing me yet. He says, you haven't finished fixing me yet. He says, you haven't finished fixing me yet. Fix me, Bella, Bella, fix me. He says there'll be nothing without me. Which is funny, because look at how something I am to your nothing is, and I took some things and finally left you with nothing. But if I, without you, I love it, the sweet taste of nothingness, the blank space of new beginnings, the freedom of nothingness on my back. Watch me build myself from the ashes of this scrap wood. He says, why don't you ever write a poem about me? Well, I did. Here it is. Signed Love Bella. Read it and weep. Thank you.
Woo!
Please welcome up our next poet, Natasha.
Last night I laid in bed underneath my lover. He looked down upon me with innocence and purity in his eyes, caressed my cheeks and whispered like Sunday morning wind chimes on Nana's front porch. He then says, "You like that, don't you?" His words feel like the unholy scriptures of rapists, triggers flashbacks when my memory is too weak, chases me down dark alleys and rips off my panty to sodomize my clockwork to womanhood, transforms my nose into debates, bloody challenges submerged with I dare yous. He doesn't get that I'm toxic. Anxiety feels its way up, then crawls out of my mouth like vomit. Tears pour down my face, burning acid. He tries to wipe them off, but I flinch. Doesn't get that his touch feels like the splintery legs of spiders slithering their way inside of my mouth, inside of my pores, and ripping out of my flesh. His hands look like dog muzzles wrapped around my mouth to silence my tears as he forces his masculinity upon me. But Mama says I'm overreacting. Says if you don't get over your past, you're gonna chase that boy away. But he has been dancing with a corpse long enough to recite the eulogy. My broken frame tangles with his desires to love me. He waltzes with the walking dead. Every time we make love, buries parts of my soul that I fight to get back in the morning. Rape is a butcher knife pressed into your side, telling you not to breathe, or this will be the last moment in life that you remember. Hold your breath. Don't fight back. Tell me what textures of fabric is asking for it. Stitches and hems versus a man's self-control, and they tell me that I'm overreacting. But when Simon says, open your legs, you better. Innocence spilled on the steps of Catholic church doors, rosary beads wrapped around my neck to strangle my tears. So when he asks why he can't run his fingers through my hair, I will tell him that it's because I'm guarded. For this, I do not apologize. Because when the shit hits the fan, no one really bothers to ask, why the fuck were we standing that close to the propellers in the first place? 1 in every 3 girls are raped. Hollow corpses walking down vacant streets. Did you mourn her today? Place roses inside of the body she now carries as a tomb. You see, the cops, they will mention the boy who cries wolf, but silence the girl who screams rape. But I won't label myself a victim just to stroke your masculinity. Instead, tonight, I will lie in bed underneath my lover. Ignore the triggers crawling behind me like shadows of the living dead. And when he asks me if I'd like it, I will simply reply, yes. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow.
Please welcome up our next poet, Tanzila.
This is called Random Search. Executive Order 13769. They called it the Muslim ban. They want to get rid of the terrorists, but not if they look like the Ku Klux Klan. They say ISIS kills, but the KKK cleanses. But terrorism is universal. That's why the war on terror terrifies me. terrorizes me. We keep out the people who look like me and do it in the name of justice, but justice is just this. Stop justifying intolerance. We can't just agree to disagree if your opinion subsists on denying me my humanity. The media only serves to exacerbate the hate, as if the actions of a group of extremists can represent 1.8 billion people. It's the news. Never failing to specify that the perpetrator was Muslim, but also never failing to overlook the 78% rise in Islamophobic hate crimes since the 2016 elections. It's Hollywood, scrambling to cast an Arab actor for Aladdin, but having no problem casting them to play terrorists. They say, get out of the land of the free. But how can I go back to my refugees, the ones who are trying to flee? They say, get out of the land of the brave. But how can I go back to my refugees, the ones who we're not willing to save? On my passport, my name is Tanzila Alam, but at the airport, it's pronounced random search. It's like we're guilty until proven innocent. That's why I sink to my knees as the breaking news banner flashes across the screen. Another mosque got blown up. But I do not yet know whether it was a Nazi or a jihadi, which is to say, I do not yet know whether I should be enraged or ashamed. They didn't just try to ban my religion, they tried to ban my people. But Muslim American is not an oxymoron when you have 3.4 million of us as living proof. I recite the Pledge of Allegiance, hand over heart, like I recite Dua, prostrated in prayer. So listen when I say no ban, no wall, because America is a land for us all. Thank you.
Woo! Good job.
Yes.
Please welcome up our last poet, JP.
More new shit. I call this Eulogy of the Hero. When I wrote this, I hadn't had alcohol or tobacco in 14 days. I know that people say you should do these kinds of things out of love for yourself, but when loving yourself is a daily battle, it is no longer an option. There's no on and off switch for self-love, and even if there was, I'd forget to pay the power. So in this situation, I had to do it for the love of something better than myself, and I choose my little brother. I robbed him of a hero. Too many shots and drinks with the family, forgot the little brother was within our group, and I lit up a cigarette in front of him. I watched in horror as I came toppling off the podium he had built for me. In a matter of 2 small inhales, I was taken from God to demon, and I now know how Lucifer felt when banished. I know the rage and self-loathing Satan must have felt, the loss of status, the pain coursing within from something so easily given and now so hard to get back. And God, I hope I can get it back. His innocent voice told me that I can die, and I said, it's okay. I only drink when I smoke, and I only smoke when I drink. Instead of tossing it away, I kept going as he stood just a few feet behind me and watched, literally saw how I disregarded his love for me, disregarded his concern, disregarded the hero status he had given me. Today I stand in front of you with the eulogy of the hero. I can stand here and make excuses, but that's a family trait I don't want to pass on. I could say that I didn't have heroes growing up. I could say that I didn't have the right role models, but unlike my parents, I will own up to my mistakes. I wish death upon me so many times, and he needs heroes, a lifetime of battling death, because a lack of heroes is nothing I want him to experience. Realizing that seeing me smoke was the equivalent of making him watch as I tied a noose, hung it from the rafters, placed it over my neck while telling him that his love wasn't enough to keep me alive, then kicking the chair out from under me, that his life wasn't worth keeping mine. No kid should be made to feel that low, because I know what it's like to have to rise up from it. I could tell him that people are not perfect, but I believe that kids should believe in Santa Claus, tooth fairies, Easter bunnies, and even things like happiness. Jade was never a good color on children, so jaded, please do not become. Self-love and happiness is hard for me, so I smoke and I drink. Please, let's go back to the days of hide and seek. Hide the depression away and seek out the light. And the light is my little brother. Believing in the saying that happiness is a choice, meaning so is depression, which is fallacy, so I self-medicate. I may not be the hero, but I won't become the liar. My childhood heroes already have property there. Thank you.
Woo!